Welcome, guys. Welcome to day three of getting the most out of your hair and your makeup teams. Christina and I were chatting before we started, and yeah, this is a big topic. Are you excited about it?
I'm very excited about it. I love getting glammed up, and who doesn't want to feel special on the most special day of their life?
Right. Or even the most special day of your friend's life, or your cousin, or your sister, or whoever, right? It's a special moment for everybody involved. So that's super exciting. All right. So a little bit, you guys by now know about wedded details, but just a reminder, we are the modern wedding planner. We help you to plan your wedding seamlessly, quickly, efficiently, right? And you're gonna love it. You are going to love this process. If you love telehealth, if you love self-checkout lane, if you love services like TurboTax, LegalZoom, if you love having things at your fingertips and being able to work through ordinary life events that way, you're going to love working with Wedded Details. We're really here to keep everything at your fingertips and make wedding planning fun and stress-free. All right. So we're really excited about that. Also, Wedding Week, the goal is to help you get more in 5 days than you have in 2 months. And that is largely by giving you lots more clarity. Clarity helps you to make decisions quickly. It helps you to make the right decision so you don't have to do a whole lot of rework later. And all of that helps you to move forward faster and it dissipates the stress because there are less things just sitting on your to-do list that you know you need to get done. So, the day three mantra is I'm gonna look good without sacrificing my schedule. If you're listening to this and you are a woman, you know that there have probably been more than one occasions where you went to get your hair done, your nails done, your lashes done, or something else done, and it threw off your whole schedule for the entire day. We don't need this on your wedding day, right? And yes, we need you to look amazing. We need things to be redone if need be, but it should not throw off your whole schedule. We don't want you to be an hour late to your schedule to your wedding because that's an hour you can't get back, right? So the way we approach wedding planning at Wedded Details is your wedding schedule dictates everything from when you wake up till when the venue is cleaned up, right? It's full, it's full. It's like a 360 view of your wedding day. And the reason is because all of those things matter. If you if your morning goes off the walls and you're 2 hours late to your wedding, the rest of the timeline is going to suffer, right? Particularly your free time to take selfies with people, to dance, to enjoy the reception, and we don't want that. So everything starts, you set the tone of the day with your hair and makeup and your beauty schedule, and our goal is for you to look amazing without sacrificing your schedule. All right, with that, let's hop into today's content. So, here's why hair and makeup planning matters. Just like I said yesterday, it's great to get a skilled makeup artist or a great hairstylist, but the planning of it matters so much. There was a time that we worked on a wedding, and the bride had a sizable bridal party. It was probably like 7 people. It wasn't anything crazy, but and then she hired a makeup artist who is now a celebrity makeup artist, by the way. At the time, she had done one or two celebrities. Now she does celebrities all the time. So this wasn't necessarily someone who was like crazy or didn't understand artistry or anything like that. And I wanted to keep this in mind as we talk about the story. This is actually someone who I believe was like in like the legal field or something else like that before she went into makeup artistry. So she had some corporate experience, all of that. Long story short, the bride reached out to her directly and, got pricing and all of that and told us, oh, you don't have to worry about makeup. We've got it covered. And we don't like that answer. Just for our future clients, I want you to know we don't like that answer. We need to see the contract. We need to see what you signed, and there is a reason. When we finally got hold of the contract and the makeup schedule, no exaggeration, the wedding ceremony was supposed to take place at 12 p.m. at a church, not at the hotel where they were getting dressed. And the makeup schedule ended at 12 p.m. Mind you, this was someone who, because of their culture, it's a Cameroonian wedding, and because of their culture, she wanted to honor the culture of stopping by her mom's house for a very small, like, meet and greet before going to the ceremony. And the makeup schedule ended at 12. Doesn't work. So for all of you guys who are future clients, when we ask you for contracts, there's a reason. There's a reason it is required that you upload your contracts for us to work through because we find all kinds of things in there. And there was no, I mean, even ending at 12 means, even if it was in the hotel, when do you get dressed? When does everyone go down the aisle? When does everyone take the pre-wedding portraits? Like there's no space for anything, right? Because of the way the schedule was built. So we then suggested what the schedule should be based off of how long it takes to do makeup per person. We suggested how many makeup artists should be there so that we could get it done in a reasonable time. Because another thing is that the makeup schedule was like 6 or 7 hours, which is like a full work day. Like after that, you're tired, right? And you want to go to sleep. You don't want to go to a wedding. And so there are multiple issues here that do need to be thought through. And a lot of people who do great work do not think these things through. They need someone who is a master of logistics to help them think it through, no matter what they say. Right? And I think of it like, when we think of wedding planning, we think about ourselves as like architects. You can't build a house with just a bunch of builders. You still need the architect to say how everything should fit together, how everything flows and works together. That is what we do for you at Wedding Details, right? And so this is why the planning of hair and makeup matters. Because yeah, you could look amazing and be 2 hours late to your wedding, as this girl would have been, right? If we just said, oh yeah, sure, you said you got it covered, so it's covered, right? We had to plan it out. And yes, by the way, they made it to the ceremony on time with the updated amendments that we gave them. So, here are some guidelines for hair and makeup. Number one, anything longer than 4 hours of hair and makeup prep is going to make you tired because before you ever arrive at your wedding. Like I said earlier, it is tried and true. I know you may have found a makeup artist that you're obsessed with. Let that makeup artist do you, your mom, and your maid of honor, and get somebody else to do the rest of the bridesmaids. Because it's not worth it for you to be exhausted, to wake up at 3 a.m. and be like in the makeup chair for 8 hours and then like be grumpy when it's time to do your first look with your partner, or when it's like you that's not what you want, right? You want to be happy, you want to be rested. And even if you choose not to sleep, at least have that downtime to yourself, right? Before you make it to the wedding. But we hope you sleep though. Anyways, so lesson number two, make sure you like the makeup artist style before you book. Don't book someone who you don't like the way they do makeup and then send them pictures incessantly of what you like that does not match their style. What this looks like is, oh, I don't like the way this person does makeup and I don't feel like the foundation matches people's skin. And you keep telling them that you want their foundation to match your skin. Guess what? They can only do the best that they know how to do. If they don't know how to do it, if they don't know how to match skin, they're not going to match your skin. And you messaging them incessantly is probably going to annoy them and they may not bring their best on your wedding day. So, or if you're like, oh, I like a natural look. Like I would say I'm that type of person. I like a natural look. I would be fine if I look pretty much just like this on my wedding day with just maybe nicer lips, right? I like a natural look. I like maybe like more of a smoky eye, but something natural. You like that, and you hire someone who loves like colorful eyeshadow and, lots of contouring and stuff like that. You want to make sure that what you've seen looks somewhat like what you like. Another thing there is also, being mindful of the person's experience with different skin tones, right? I'm not saying that it's more important their experience with multiple skin tones than the skin tone of the makeup artist, right? There are certain people who can literally do makeup on anyone, and they have mastered it, and they have a lot of respect, and they've studied how to help people who have blue undertones, red undertones, who are darker, who are lighter. Like there are some people who can span the gamut and they do it well, and there are some people who do not. So you want to make sure that if your wedding party is more diverse, you either want to maybe like go half and half and have like the lighter people go with the person with experience with lighter skin and the darker people go with the person with experience with darker skin, or you can make sure that you're hiring people who can span the gamut, right, and take care of the gamut. I've been in weddings multiple times, and I don't think I've actually ever been except for one wedding I was in Nigeria, which is totally different. That's in Africa. I don't think I've ever been in a wedding where everyone was the same race, right? So that's something that you have to keep in mind when you're looking at makeup teams, when you're looking at hair teams. It's not just, oh, this person can do my hair, but can they do everyone's hair if you want them to do everyone's hair? For instance, in case you probably can't tell, but I have natural hair, right? My hair is if I just wet it, it's an afro, right? You can straighten it, you can do different things, but you have to know how to do that. And I'm not going to let anybody damage my hair because I'm sitting in, because I'm getting ready for a wedding. So you have to make sure if you have people with natural hair, permed hair, curly hair, extra fine straight hair. There are certain people whose hair does not curl easily, right? There are all these things to consider when you are hiring hair teams, and also when you're choosing the hairstyles as well. A bun works pretty much for everybody, but curls may not work as well for everybody. Like I said, certain people's hair textures just doesn't hold curls that well. So it's something to keep in mind. Then also number three, get commitment on start and end times and make sure they're realistic before you book the artist, right? Um, Nobody's can do wedding day makeup in 15 minutes unless they're working on like a flower girl because you don't usually put heavy makeup on a kid. But outside of that, no, it's 15 minutes isn't going to work. And I've only ever worked with one makeup artist ever in Philadelphia who was able to get people in and out of the chair in 30 minutes. And she did a good job. But that's also incredibly rare. So 45 minutes is a little bit more realistic, but make sure you get commitment on how much time people need per person, right? So that the schedule makes sense. This is all stuff that we do, and that we help you with. Also, don't forget that you need time to get dressed, pack your stuff for the day, take photos, possibly go to the restroom, like, and go to the venue after hair and makeup ends. That doesn't even include if you're planning on doing a first look with your wedding party, first look with your parents, planning on doing a first look with your groom, like all taking pictures in multiple places on the ground. All these things need to happen before the wedding even starts. So your hair and makeup needs to end well before the wedding starts, right? And lesson number five is let a professional guide you as early as possible. I've just given you a whole lot of gems, but that's not everything. There's so much more to consider as far as making sure that you actually make it to your wedding on time. And this is why it is so uncommon for weddings to start on time. It is uncommon for weddings to start on time. Many people lose valuable time that they've paid for on their wedding day because it's not planned well. You can have a terrible plan and have a day of coordinator or have somebody there yelling at people, and it's still not going to work, right? You still need that quality plan, and this is why it's best to let a professional guide you as early as possible. Um, so just a reminder, if you work with wedded details from the beginning, we help you with your venue search if you don't have a venue. If not, we'll help you with booking some or all of your vendors. It's really up to you. If you're like, oh, I haven't booked anyone yet, great, book us now. If you're like, oh, I booked a few already, great, book us now. We'll help you with the rest and mapping everything out so that everything makes sense, right? If you've already booked all your vendors, cool. We'll help you with making sure that everything's aligned and let you know what needs to change in the plans that you have with the individual vendors so that it flows smoothly on the wedding day. You can't wait to the day of to try to fix it, right? If we waited to the day of to realize that the makeup artist was planning to finish makeup at 12 p.m., we would be in big trouble. The only options that we would have would be that some people just go barefaced to the wedding or do their own makeup, or that we are late. There's no other fix on the wedding day for something like this. Because by the way, the fix wasn't to change the starting time for makeup. The starting time for makeup stayed the same. There were other fixes we put in place to make sure, right? So, and that wouldn't have been possible on the day of, realizing that she planned to go until 12. So all of this stuff has to be handled ahead of time, planning, right? So for today, for day three, our fast action bonus is getting 3 extra months of the weekly wedding planning calls and chat box support. And this is huge, right? Because if you're planning a wedding, you're like, oh, my wedding's in like a year or in like a year and 2 months. You need this because that basically means you don't have to pay any extra fees like for a longer engagement period, a longer support period with us. You just get it all for the base price. So I wouldn't. hesitate to go ahead and lock that in. Again, if you're watching this on replay or demand, we can see when you started, we can see when you ended. So make sure you go ahead and lock that in as soon as you can. Again, tomorrow's bonus is one rework credit. You get that as well if you book today. So you get all of the three that are on the screen if you book today, the rework credit. Um, so we'll redo the planning for you if you change your mind about something along the way. That also is crucial. And then day five bonus, the event design service, which you also get for free as long as you book by Friday. But if you, as long as you book by day five. But if you book today, you get all three of these, right? And whether you choose to use it or not, knowing that you have it in the bank is really helpful and will help to reduce stress. All right. So at this point, we've reached it to the end of today's hair and makeup scheduled training. And I'm telling you, mm, I just gave you guys some major gems. Um, and and also a lot of major gems that honestly, even a lot of wedding planners don't even know. That is part of the beauty of working with our team because our team is, we have planners with lots of experience, so we know what works, right? And we know how to make a wedding start on time every time. And literally the difference is in the advanced planning, right? So yeah, we're really excited about that. So Christina, the wedding mom, is going to be taking over the Q&A for right now. So the first question I would ask is, should I pay for hair and makeup for my wedding party? Or should I pay for one or the other? Or should I pay for both? Like who pays for hair and makeup for the wedding party?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think planning ahead of time and if it's in the budget in the earlier stages, then it's always a nice thing to offer. Either both or one service and then offer them to cover the other one if they want to get the other one done. But I think so it depends on budget. And then it depends on how much time as well do you have to make that decision because you don't want to have people adding it on last minute. So it's a nice thing to offer, but it's not absolutely necessary.
Hmm. Yeah, so when you were saying have people added on later, does that mean like people paying for their own makeup or raising their hand and saying, "Hey, yes, I want my own makeup done," like by a makeup artist?
Yeah. Yeah, so let's say it's not in the budget to cover, let's say it's only in the budget to cover one service.
Hmm.
But then, so you cover the one service, people choose hair or makeup. But then one person only wants hair, one person only wants, makeup. And so just having it all planned out ahead of time of, okay, we're paying for the one service, and then you're going to cover this other one, and this is how many we need. Just so it's clear on how many artists you need, because that's the biggest important thing. You want to make sure you have the right amount of artists so that, just like you were saying, once you're in the later stages, you're limited to availability and their schedule. You have to move the times around, and so I think whichever route you go, just having it planned out in advance.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also like you're not going to be able to get a refund in most cases. So if you say up front that, "Oh yeah, I have eight bridesmaids, so I need to book you for eight," and then later you say, "Actually, I only need five. Can I just pay you for five?" Most people are going to say no. You still got to pay
Yeah.
me for eight, or I'm not showing up, right?
Yeah, that's the tricky part because when you're signing the contract in the early stage to secure yours and you commit to everybody, but then you're like, oh yeah, they're just going to pay for it for themselves, but then later people back out or whatever. That's the tricky part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So it is more straightforward if you pay for everyone. But again, if
Mhm.
your budget is tighter, that can be really tricky to pay for everyone. So it is better to, have have everyone pay for themselves, maybe set a deadline. Hey guys, you need to, if you're gonna get your makeup done, send me the money by this date so I know it's real, or send me an email by this date so I know it's real. And then you go book the makeup artist so there's no miscommunication and it's clear. Yeah, that's really good. I love that
Mhm.
advice. Also, so if somebody has a really big wedding party, like everybody's definition of big is different. That could be six people, it could be eight people, it could be 12, it could be 16. What in general do people need to keep in mind if they have a larger wedding party when it comes to hair and makeup?
In general, I think I expect to how you were saying, not everybody has the same skin tone, not everybody has the same hair texture. So, in general, I expect to have people with different needs and different things. And so it's always nice to think of, your wedding party, but ultimately you want to book your lead hair and makeup artist for that's going to do the best job for you, right? And so sometimes it's not always going to be a good fit for everybody in the wedding party. So I think
Hmm.
just keeping that in mind in the beginning can really save you and your wedding party from not having the right people on the day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. And I think that's really great. That's really great. What about like for the person who's like, how can I got 12 people and you said anything more than 4 hours is too long and I'm trying to do the math and that sounds crazy. Like, so what does that look like? And we don't have to give exact counts because we don't want to, everybody's situation is different. We
Right.
don't want to lead anyone. That would be better for you to hire us and we'll give you your exact number. But like what else should people keep in mind with larger wedding parties?
I think a big thing that people kind of forget about is having sufficient space in the getting ready location.
Hmm.
So a lot of getting ready rooms are not meant for a party of 12. They're like small little like changing rooms almost. They're barely enough to get like two or three people's hair and makeup done, right? So I think just having sufficient space. Most standard hotel rooms are not big enough. You don't have enough lighting, enough chairs, enough, outlets. So having the space in mind. And not everybody is gonna have to do or want to do professional hair and makeup. So even having multiple like bathrooms is in one space is really nice because then two or three girls can be doing their own hair and makeup at the same time. So I think that's something that people can keep in mind for larger wedding parties. I think just having a schedule too, even for girls that are not doing at least for us, even if they're doing their own hair and makeup, we still give them a schedule because, if you try to tell six girls to all get ready from this time to this time, it's never gonna happen, right? You're never gonna
It's
leave the
not.
house.
It's not. It's
Um,
not.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I love what you're saying about giving everyone a schedule because that also speaks to one of the things that everybody gets in all of our packages. Whether you book the final details package or you book the full planning, there's an email that goes to your wedding party, which lets people know exactly like this is when you need to be done. Even if you're doing your own makeup, this is when you need to be done. Because something that I started noticing earlier on in my career is that, sometimes if you don't do everyone's makeup, people will like be like, oh, I'm gonna just go to the mat counter and then come
oh
back.
yeah,
And they come back like when it's time to leave. Like they've
yeah,
missed all the pictures, they've missed a lot because they didn't understand. Like there was a reason we put everybody in one space. We asked everybody to stay over in the same place. There's a reason we're keeping you contained. There's so much going on. So giving people like a realistic understanding of this is when you need to be done. I know you may not understand why you need to be done at this time, but you need to be done at this time. And if you are not done at this time, you're gonna miss a lot of pictures. Like you're gonna miss a lot of moments. So like literally
yeah,
preparing people of what to expect, so that even if they are doing their own makeup, because it's not crazy or weird for your wedding party to do their own makeup, right? Maybe you
yep.
listen, your wedding party may be full of a whole bunch of baddies, and you guys all like. You do the tutorials, you know how to do your own makeup, and everybody just fine. You may also just be a more natural group of girls. You don't like makeup, right? That's fine. The only thing
Yeah.
to keep in mind is how that's going to look on camera. But as long as you're comfortable with that, like that is also fine. But there is still a schedule that day, and it is very easy for that schedule to be thrown off. So
Hmm.
makeup, when to be done with hair and makeup is one of the long list of things that we prepare your wedding party for in the emails that we send to them. For those of you who are like, well, when people don't read emails, they do if you send it to them early enough. They won't read it instantly, but they will eventually. But even then, we give it to you in a Google Doc so you can just text them a link of here's
Hmm.
what you need to know for my wedding day. And it's a one pager, right? That they can follow. It's easy to follow with everything they need to know. So I think that this is, yeah, I really like that. You really touched on something there. Okay, cool. Anything else? Because I know I hopped in there.
Hmm. No, I think we covered a good amount of stuff. Got some
Okay.
good insights for everybody.
Hmm. Okay, cool. Great, 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 great. I think we already kind of answered this third question. I was going to ask, does everyone need to get both hair and makeup done? But I think you kind of answered that earlier, that sometimes people choose one or the other. or
Yeah,
sometimes you may decide to do only one for everybody, which is usually makeup.
true. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people typically like, I would say lean more towards makeup than hair. If you were going to be the one to choose one as the bride, I would say people tend to want to have their makeup done versus their hair because, you know, as girls, we know our hair better than anybody else, right? So I think it's easier for us to style our own hair versus our own makeup most of the
Hmm.
time.
Yeah, and also depending on certain things, you may be able to style your hair in advance. Like certain people,
True.
like certain people have locks or they get braids,
Hmm.
or maybe it's none of the above, but they can style their hair the night before, right? And then just come
Hmm.
ready to just do makeup and move on. And also, it is not uncommon for everybody to have different hairstyles. I think that is a more modern trend for everybody to
True.
do their own thing when it comes to hair versus makeup, right? You don't want one person to have red eyeshadow and somebody else to have
Hmm.
blue. Like that looks crazy. But one person having a ponytail, someone else having their hair down is actually not that crazy when it comes to bridesmaids' hair. So I think that's something to keep in mind as well. It's like everybody gets to have their own little personality through their hair, if nothing else. So yeah.
Hmm.
Cool, cool, cool. All right. So this has been good. This has been very juicy. So yeah, so thanks guys. Again, here's day 3. This is a lot to think about. Your homework for tonight is to think through who needs hair and makeup styling services. So this is not just your wedding party. This is parents, this is siblings who are not in the wedding party. Um, that usually is it, but if there's maybe a grandparent, I mean, grandparents usually be like, "What you mean makeup?" But if you have a grandparent who will let you put makeup on them, listen, add them to the schedule. You have to really think through all of these things so that you're, like Christina said, hiring an adequate number of artists to come on your wedding day and you're not falling behind. All right. So yeah, that's all we've got for today. So thanks guys for joining. We are halfway through wedding week. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about getting the most out of your wedding party and your family and your friends. So don't miss it. That's like a major topic, very major topic. A lot of times people talk a lot about their vendors and forget about family. You got to keep them I wouldn't say keep them in line because people most of the time do not intentionally do things to hurt your wedding, but you have to keep them informed. Otherwise, they're going to do their own thing to try to help and it gets in the way. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow and I'm really excited. All right. So cheers, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. I messed up. It didn't record. I was like looking to, oh, it was recording, my bad.